Great to be here, Yoni, and welcome to Governor Scott Walker. I mean, I was one of his first on his campaign team when he ran in 2016, but an amazing governor of the state of Wisconsin, and his legacy will live with us forever, and he's not finished. We've got
exactly. You know,
we got a big election in 2020.
Let's talk a bit, Governor Walker talk.
Yeah.
What's the next stage for Mr. Walker?
Well, I think we talked about it tonight, right,
Okay.
Scott? He's going to be extremely active in the 2020 re-election and the campaign for President Trump. You know, for all of us here in this room, I think I speak for all of us. That would be a huge objective that Donald Trump gets reelected, and that the Republican Party keeps control of the Senate in the United States and retakes the House of Representatives from the kooks in the Democratic Party who have taken over there. So we've got a lot to do in the coming months.
So I won't ask you about 2024.
Sure.
Okay.
2024.
Could I ask you about 2024? About
All right.
Mr. Walker?
All right.
What do you think? Where is he going?
Scott, you ready? Huh?
We'll hear later. Okay. You know what? Let's try to understand when President Trump goes out and says Israel has to get its act together. Is that a practical thing, or is that just, a statement?
He couldn't be more correct.
Exactly. It's crazy here.
I mean, President Trump seems to get it right every time. He's got this innate skill to understand politics, understand reality, and he's right. We've got it mixed up over here in Israel. We've got you just heard Mike Golan talking about the elections coming up in September, and you've talked about it tonight. Maybe there's no reason for that. We should have been on our way to getting things done with the 21st Knesset. Now we're going to have to wait for the 22nd.
Okay, guys, just sit down. We have the live broadcast there.
Hey, look who's arrived.
Yeah, we have
Nadia Matar and Yehudit
Katzover. They're going to join us soon.
That's great. They just they're the recipients of the Moskowitz Prize.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic.
Let's talk a bit about actually the Israeli media, because you talk to them a lot, the mainstream Israeli media, and generally speaking, the Israeli public. Do they understand what an amazing president we have there in the White House?
I think absolutely. Every day, Yoni, that I walk down the street, people that I don't know stop me and say, President Trump is a miracle. This administration is miraculous. My Vice President Pence and this whole thing, they just can't believe how the miracles keep coming out of Washington with this president and vice president and the administration. And I think it's reflected, too, in the way American citizens here in Israel vote for the presidency. 80% of all the American citizens who voted in the elections voted for President Trump in 2016, and we expect those kind of numbers in 2020. And it's because, and that's in direct contradistinction to what happens to the Jewish vote in the United States, where they're voting 80% for the Democrat.
Why is that, by the way? Do you want to talk about that?
I think your people will fall asleep if we have to talk about that. I mean, that'll take hours. It's just an anomaly. It's something the Jewish community in the United States doesn't have its priorities straight. There was just a poll that came out, you probably saw it, just the other day, where it said that something like only 25% of American Jews consider Israel relevant to determining their vote in federal elections. Now, come on. I mean, we've got 14 million Jews in the world. No one else is watching out for us but for ourselves and our state. And here American Jews are throwing their votes in favor of a party that's gone off the rails, especially when it comes to Israel. What's her name? Ilhan Omar and AOC and Tlaib, Rashida Tlaib from Michigan. I mean, and they're they're the tail wagging the Democratic Party in ways, that Eliot Engel, who's a friend of Israel, the chairman now of the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
A true friend of Israel.
A true friend of Israel, but has backed off because of all this craziness on the left wing of the Democratic Party.
So he's hushed?
He's been very reluctant to come out strongly on issues that are important to Israel.
During the campaign, you were talking a lot about how important the Israeli vote, the votes of Americans living in Israel is. Was it really influential?
Well, I'll tell you, in the year 2000, our votes determined the presidency of the United States. In 2000, George Bush ran against Al Gore and Joe Lieberman, and the President Bush won the election on the basis of 537 votes from Southern Florida. In that election, 1,200 votes for Bush from Southern Florida were cast here in Israel. So we can say that we had a lot to do with who became president in the year 2000. But in the year 2016, the Jewish votes from here didn't move the needle in any of the jurisdictions. What it did happen, though, and this is big, and this is why I've been coming regularly to the White House in the past 2 years, is that our vote here in Israel energized evangelical Christians in the United States who do care about Israel, who put Israel among the top 3 issues that affect their votes. That's ironic that they do and the American Jews don't. And that fact that the Jews here in Israel came to support the Republican Party and the president in such large numbers was, I was told after the fact, extremely influential in getting them to come to the polls in 2016 and elect President Trump and Mike Pence as vice president.
Mark Zell, leader of Republicans in Israel. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thanks for Joe Frager bringing us together here today.